lifting that's going to start in the House, because the discussions on the budget are going to start there, and support Minority Leader Batchelder and Representative Adams in these discussions, and urge the House to have a vigorous discussion on how we can restructure government. And I hope that the governor will see that this unique time provides a unique opportunity so that we can make Ohio stronger for the future by restructuring state government as we're proposing. And it's my pleasure to introduce my mentor on this issue, Jim Petro, who first brought this matter to my attention 4 years ago, and I think has a unique view of why the time is right to restructure state government. Thank you.
Senator, thank you. Mr. Leader, Representative Adams. I'm pleased to get a chance to come back here. Nobody ever invites me to come around. So it's nice to be with all of you. Talk about things that I think I've talked about for a long time. If we go back in history, I began thinking about the incredibly poor structure of state government back in 1983, when we went through another recession. And the answer, no disrespect to Governor Celeste, but the answer was something that I think really distracted Ohio from the goal of economic growth with a very large personal income tax increase back in those days. A lot of us felt that it was excessive. We could have done some things that might have been a little more forethought. I will say, with respect to Governor Strickland, I think he's doing his focus on reduction of overhead. And I really respect what the caucus in the House and the caucus in the Senate are looking at, and that is something that's dramatic, something that can really have some long-term impact. As Auditor of State beginning in 1995, we would, of course, every year audit the state government. It was a major financial statement audit, but it included a rotary review of maybe 6 or 7 cabinet agencies a year that were in-depth reviews that would then result in what we called a management letter. And I would read, people wonder what the Auditor of State does. He sits around and reads management letters from his senior staff that describe areas operationally that could be improved. And the common theme that was always there was the duplication. That if you had a number of cabinet departments, many of which performing a lot of the same functions, there were staff levels that were duplicating what one consolidated staff group could be doing to meet the needs of multiple agencies. There's always an idea that was out there. I began talking about it as I ran for governor. If it really caught hold, I'd be giving a state of the state tomorrow. But it never did. So as we go forward, I'm pleased that people continue to look at this as a very viable and important step. To give you one example, there are 300 boards, commissions, organizations, of which probably 2/3 of those have their own staff group. What we sought to do in looking at this reorganization is combining staff groups, have centralized staff in an agency that dealt with the regulatory boards that were consistent with the mission of those agencies. That would, in itself, I think we once calculated, reduce like 1,500 employees. Just operationally, there were a lot of very simple steps that could be taken. But as Senator Grendell has said, it is heavy lifting. This is not easy. But aside from the cost benefits and the obvious management benefits, it's been stated by Representative Adams, and it's been pointed out that businesses retool themselves every 5 to 10 years. State government has not retooled itself in 60 years, and it clearly does need to be retooled. Nothing, in view of technology and changes that occur, nothing should stay this same, and the sameness of it is, I think, a deterrent to effective operation, but nothing should stay the same for this long without being comprehensively reviewed. This is a proposal that represents a comprehensive review. There's a lot of options and alternatives that could mix this up, but part of this budget process could involve that comprehensive discussion that says we're going to try to really weed out areas of duplication. And let me tell you, having been 8 years as auditor, there's a lot of it throughout state government, and it could result in massive savings. But more than that, beyond just effectiveness and efficiency, the thing I always was struck by as you really look at states across the country, the governing magazine ranks the states every year as to their operating effectiveness. And for years, the best managed state in the country was Virginia. They did a massive reorganization 20 years ago. North Carolina did 15 or 20 years ago. They also reorganized in North Carolina their university system and created, a much more cost-effective university structure at that time. And I would say that Ohio's doing some of that right now with consolidation. Those are good things. But then you've got places like Minnesota, which should not be a competitive state in terms of its ability to attract new business, but it is. And it is because of higher education and because of government modernization. People who are outside, businesses looking at state governments, where they're going to locate, they want to know that they can get in, get out, do their business with state government without a lot of hoops to go through. They want it to be efficient. They want it to be modern. And Ohio is not modern. States that I've mentioned, Virginia, North Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, Minnesota, those are states that have modernized their operations over the years. Their opportunity for economic growth has far exceeded Ohio's. And there's no reason for it. You can understand the Sun Belt. But Minnesota? Why does that happen? It happens because they care about how they look. And when you look good, you will do good. And Ohio, for many years, operationally, has not really looked good. This is an opportunity to run.